Hey guys, welcome back to Yarn Geek and Friends. I am so super excited for our guest today. I have been following her on Instagram forever, like for as long as I've been on Instagram, which is years at this point. Her tapestry crochet designs are one of the reasons I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do tapestry crochet. She's got the Halloween, she's got coffee, she's got cute Halloween coffee. What more could you ask for? So without further ado, join me in welcoming Amber from Divine Debris. We are live, and thank you so much, Amber, for coming today. For those of you who don't know, this is Amber, the creative force behind Divine Debris. And I have been, I say, watching you, or I followed you on Instagram for years. And I've just always loved your tapestry crochet. It's spooky. It's spooky and happy. Spooky, happy and cute, and a lot of coffee.
Yes. Yeah, that's my sweet spot. That's basically like my motivation. Like that's the inspiration behind most of what I make.
Right.
Spooky, happy, little cute, mostly coffee.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of coffee?
Honestly, I just drink pretty much plain black coffee, just a nice light roast.
Mm-hmm.
Something with a good kind of medium flavor, not too acidic.
Yeah.
I drink black coffee, sometimes with a little bit of oat milk.
I don't like the sugar in the coffee. I'm a milk coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like to get the actual flavor and be home with the yarn. But I've started, well, actually for a long time, my car's pretty much loaded up with yarn too. So, so wherever I go, ever since my kids have gotten older and I don't have to worry about them, like strangling each other with yarn, and they're driving their own cars, I can take yarn in my car, which is a nice change.
Oh yeah, I've got my little tote bag with like projects and stuff. It's never too far from me when I leave the house. Even if I'm going out, like my husband and I'll go out and have a beer at a brewery, and I'll bring my yarn. I'll just sit there with my little beer and my yarn and just make something.
You got to be safe. You got to play on the safe side and take your yarn everywhere.
Exactly. You never know when you'll have an opportunity. The traffic, long line at the bank. You never know.
I know, or just because, the mood hits you, you got to pull over on the side of the road, and got to happen now.
You get an idea, you got to sketch it. At least that's how I feel. Like I have a notes app that I have just like little ideas that if I get something, I'm like, ooh, that'd be cute to make a thing out of, and I'll just like write it down.
Yeah. Oh, I like your cup. Is that
Thank you
on it?
Yes.
Yes, like it. Now, did you get the cup after you started doing all your mushroom stuff, or before?
It was a little bit after. I think I got it suggested on Instagram. The algorithm is algorithming.
Right.
Yeah, I just got suggested. I think it's because I make so much mushroom stuff. It's Antler Fluff on Instagram, but she also has a Etsy page, and I just I somehow just was very lucky. The moons aligned and whatnot, or planets aligned, and it was like a month before a drop that she had of new mugs, and one of them looked like that, and I was like, that's me. The mug is calling me. I have to have it. And so I did.
In my cart. I'm gonna start throwing money.
Absolutely. I was up very early because I don't remember what time the drop was, but I was up like refreshing her Etsy page, just like refresh, waiting for it because I was not going to miss it.
Of course, everybody's gonna want the cup, and so I'll get that from you.
Okay. Yes, I will definitely send that link because her stuff's amazing. She is so cool. She makes kind of a similar vibe, like the scary cutesy stuff. Sorry, I thought I turned my phone off. It's got a scary cutesy stuff, and I love that. She's got just like cool stuff. Her whole vibe is really neat.
Yeah, that's neat. I like the lip on it too. That's a cool.
It's got a really good like space right there because it at the top a little bit. It's really nice.
And when you're a real coffee connoisseur and you like to enjoy your coffee, you got to have the right cup.
Oh yeah, this has got like that wide base, so it sits real firmly. It's got a little little tabby thing for your thumb and everything.
Nice.
Like it's made for somebody who's going to drink a couple cups a day.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sold.
Sorry, yeah, that was my infomercial for her coffee cups. She's
I love it.
amazing.
Well, since all the coffee stuff's going on and we're getting ready to go into fall, which
Mhm.
I'm pretty much I've been already going into fall for the last month because I don't know if you ever do this, but what is your favorite season, fall?
Oh, absolutely. Like 10 out of 10. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I decided to play a brain trick on myself this year. And you know how, at least I do, it's like even starting in January, I'm like, oh crap, spring's going to be here. And then there's going to be summer. Yuck. Well, around the 4th of July, I thought if I can do that and get all knotted up about spring and summer coming, I can start it in July about fall and winter. So
Mhm.
it's been a
Yeah.
good mind trick on myself.
I'm actually the same way. I did, you know how people do Christmas in July? I
Mhm.
do Halloween in July, and I had like promotions on all of my fall patterns, all of my Halloween patterns. I was posting about it because the same thing. I
Mhm.
was like, I'm over
Yeah.
summer. I don't
No.
want this anymore. Give me cozy sweaters, warm drinks, and pretty full warm colors on the trees. Like
Mhm.
that's what I want right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I could live in that all year long.
Me too. It would be lovely. I would love it.
How did you first get into crochet?
It was like a weird process. Like my mom taught me how to crochet when I was a kid.
Mhm.
I think I was like 7, 8. I can still remember the skein of white, green, and purple Red Heart Super Saver. Like it was that those variegated yarn. And I think I had like a G hook, like a boy G hook. Like
Mhm.
tried it out. Of course, being young, I think I tried to make a blanket. I think that was the first thing I was like, I'm gonna make a blanket. Naturally, I got like half a dozen rows. I was losing stitches. It was all wonky. So I gave up. But like I had the basics down. And so when I was in my mid 20s, I started working at AC Moore, which is a craft store on the East Coast in the US
Mhm.
here. Or at least it used to be. I think they might
Right.
be closed.
Yeah,
But
there was
yeah,
a big sadness when that happened.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Because I moved back out west, and we do not have them out west. But
Yeah.
I was started working at one, and you know how the yarn gets. It's very pushy. It's very
Mhm.
whispery. It wants to hang out with you, wants to go home in your bag. Like, and
Mhm.
so I kept seeing the yarn when I would walk through the store, and I just one day decided to buy some. Got home, pulled up YouTube, and I had like that little bit of familiarity with the stitches that with no time I picked it right back up, and that was like 2012, 2013, and that's been it. Just started playing with yarn and then eventually started designing because I was like, hey, I want to make stuff and I want to design it, make my own
Yeah.
ideas.
I always love hearing everybody's beginning stories.
Hmm.
It's so
It's
much
like
fun.
their
What
hero
were
origins.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, what was the very first thing you designed? Oh, wait a minute, go back a little further. What was your first crochet project when you got back into it? And then what was the first thing you designed?
Ooh, I'm not even sure what my first project was. It was probably a scarf or a hat. Like
Sure.
I'm almost like certain it was one of those because I mean we were up in upstate New York. They've had real winters there.
Right.
And so that was absolutely, useful to have a scarf or a hat, something nice
Mhm.
and cozy. So it was probably one of those. But weirdly enough, some of the first things I designed were earrings. Like I used to take the floss, like embroidery floss, and make earrings
Mhm.
out of it. And that was like I made a ton of earrings for years. It was like one of the things I
Mhm.
just loved making. I still do it now occasionally. It's a lot harder on the hands now,
Yeah.
um but yeah, earrings were the first things I started making.
Well,
I just
that's
had
interesting. It must have been about a year ago. I won one of your giveaways, and I got a earring pattern. I think they were rainbow.
mhm.
It was kind of like a mandala rainbow.
Yes, that's probably what they're called, actually.
Yeah,
Not anything fancy.
yeah, they're so pretty. I still need to make them because I've got like 1,000 whips that are, everywhere.
Hmm. Of
But
course, we all
but
do.
of course, yeah. How did your design process evolve from earrings into what you do now?
I think it was just like mostly time and just doing stuff because
Mhm.
the earrings were fun and stuff, but like they don't have that wow factor
Right.
of a sweater or even a hat, a scarf, like any of that. I just I don't know, just kept kind of developing my skills through practice and seeing what other people were making. And I just, I just kind of like kept going, kept making more bigger things. And uh, yeah, and then I found like a kind of tapestry color work, I think back in like 2016
Mhm.
is the first time I saw somebody do that. And I was like, that's incredible. I didn't know you could do that with yarn. That and like changed my life, changed the whole
Yeah.
trajectory of my work.
It's so true. I mean, you were one of the first people when I got on Instagram that I remember seeing making tapestry crochet projects. And I think I got on Instagram as like 2017, something like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I did not know that these things could be done with yarn. And it just,
Hmm.
one of those moments.
Hmm. Yeah, it was very much the same for me. And it was a little lonely at first because it wasn't very big. Like I
Mhm.
love that social media has absolutely like embraced
Yeah.
color work. I follow so many people that make these beautiful like sweaters, tapestries, hats. Like they're just doing incredible work. And I love seeing it because for so long I was trying to get people excited about tapestry or just any kind of color work like that.
Right.
And it was slow going. Like
Right.
the pumpkin that you showed me, the coffee cup pumpkin with the little wavies on
Oh,
top,
yeah.
that bombed. Nobody like I didn't get
What?
much love for that when I first released it a few years ago.
Oh my gosh. And you can do this in so many different colors, give it so many different looks.
Yeah, it didn't do well at all. People weren't really into that space yet, and you know the industry, everything's different now. Like
Yeah.
it's really has changed so much that yeah, more people are into it. My work has expanded to much more intricate, like more wild tapestry
Yeah.
designs, and yeah, people are more receptive than they were back when I released that tiny square. So
Yeah.
it's been so cool. I absolutely love it.
And it's almost like an artwork. I mean, because it's like you really are drawing pictures. I love
Mhm.
the waviness. Your mushroom designs are so groovy. They're so cool. And then your
Yeah, I
desert designs.
yeah, I call it painting with yarn is what I
Yeah.
like to call it because I've got a background in art. I have
Mhm.
an art history degree, and I was like
Oh wow.
that little kid when I was in school that I was always drawing on things, and I had
Yes.
paints and stuff. Like I've always been like an artsy kid, and so the yarn is just like another avenue for that creative uh, outlet, just like another avenue for that expression of whatever weird waviness I want to make that week.
Right. Right. Without a doubt. That gives me some cool insight into you because my oldest daughter, art history, she it, she kind of went the other direction, went into art teaching. So she's an art teacher for a long
Oh,
time. But
awesome.
yeah, but she does all of the, different color things, whatever she can e- get colors for to make things with, like the Coptic markers were one thing, and then yarn for a while. And she made the little, what are those little games that Tamaguchi or I don't know what they are. They're
Mm,
little
yeah, things
living
like
thing.
Tamagotchi, stuff like that.
Yeah, make little covers for them and everything. She's very creative. What inspired your name, Divine Debris?
That actually came from a Nine Inch Nails song.
Sweet.
Yeah, I was a mall goth as a teenager. I have no shame about that. I wore a lot of black, and yeah, I listened to a lot of Nine Inch Nails. Still one of my favorite bands to this day. And they have a song called "Somewhat Damaged" off of their album "The Fragile." And there's a lyric in there that says "divine debris," and I loved it. And I've been using it since almost 20 years now for
That's
various things.
great name. That's a great way to get a name. I love that. Was Hot
Mhm.
Topic one of your favorite stores?
And of course it was. They weren't even around when I started. Like
Yeah.
we used to have to drive to the other side of Salt Lake because I grew up in Utah too. And
Uh-huh.
it would be like an hour drive to be able to get to the closest Hot Topic. But we went.
I spent a lot of time in Hot Topic, not for me, but for my oldest daughter, and she got the coolest coat at Hot Topic. It was a fitted one like this. It had all the grommets and stuff where you can lace it up the back and the
Hmm.
long sleeves and went all the way down to the floor. It was
Yeah.
the coolest.
It sounds like it would have been like lip service or Trip NYC. Like I could picture that. I definitely know what that
Right.
would look like.
Yeah, yeah. I've got pictures of her in it. Just so cool.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd still wear that now, but
Oh
it's
yeah, without a doubt.
it's just a little uncomfortable. I'd like to be more comfortable now.
Yeah, I know my tolerance for uncomfort has grown. Instead of trying to fit my body to fit into the cool clothes, I've now decided I am going to make my own cool clothes to fit my body.
Amen to that. Yeah, honestly. And it's cooler when somebody will walk up and be like, "I like your sweater." And like
Yeah,
that's cool. That's the coolness that you didn't get when I was a teenager.
exactly. Where did you get that? Hmm, I made it. I designed
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, I my husband and I were taking photos of my new release, the one with the ghost on the front, the Gertrude
Yeah.
ghost sweater. And I got out of the car because we go and take it at a local park. And the first person that walked past me goes, "I really like your sweater." And I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yeah, that's the vibe I want to take into a photo shoot." That made me have
Yeah,
fun. Like that felt good.
exactly. Victory achieved.
Hmm. That was awesome.
How did working at AC Moore affect your designs, or did it?
I'm not sure if it affected them so much as it absolutely affected my yarn stash. Like, um, we had a discount on top of like
Mhm.
sale prices. I would get
Right.
like 30% off on top of discounted yarn. So if
Mhm.
the yarn was 30 to 50% off, I had way too much. Needless to say, I was so much yarn.
Because you just when there's a deal that good, it's a crime to not get the deal
Hmm.
on the yarn.
Oh yeah, and I've got some old skeins of yarn that I've had since I worked there, and I left there in like 2013. So like I probably still have some in my stash from
Nice.
then, just hanging out with me, living
Yeah.
in there.
Now you mentioned that your first yarn was like Red
Mhm.
Heart Super Saver. How do you feel about Red Heart Super Saver now versus then? I remember back in the 80s, you know, Red Heart Super Saver yarn was the only yarn I could get in rural Arkansas, at Walmart.
Mhm.
And until my mom and dad got sheep, and then we had a sheep farm, and then, and
Very
then
cool.
wool.
Mhm.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, it was so scratchy and hard to use. But
Yeah.
now yarn is so much better.
It absolutely is. I think the yarn is, yeah, at a better place now than it was back then. Like I can remember how scratchy. I can viscerally remember the texture of that yarn.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I used Super Saver, just
Mhm.
because I haven't gotten it in a few years.
Right.
But um, like I don't have a problem with using inexpensive, you know, craft store or grocery store. You go
Yeah.
get some from Walmart yarn. I think it's fantastic. I'm not a big yarn snob. Like I try
Yeah.
not to play that game. I like get
No
what you
way.
can get, enjoy it, have fun with what you can have access to. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. In fact, that's what I went and got for my Halloween fun, where I wanted just the bright colors, because for some reason just those neons just were
mhm.
yelling at me one day. And
Oh,
I
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, the yarn, I mean, for people who don't know yarn, yarn actually speaks to us. Like
It can, it
literally.
really can.
How do you balance creativity and your business?
Uh, I'm not sure if I do that very well, to be honest with you, because I've got like there are big swings in how patterns are received. And so there are times where I'm making something and I'm like, I like how this looks. It's kind of weird. Other
Mhm.
people might not like it. Who can say? And then, yeah, other people don't like it so much. And so that's not great for the business aspect, but it is a lot of fun for the creativity aspect. So just,
Exactly.
I'm not sure if it's a great balance at this point, but I think it's okay. It works for me.
What is your favorite crochet memory?
Oh, honestly, I think it was early when I was designing and started posting patterns
Hmm.
on like Ravelry
Yeah.
and just like the first couple sales. I that's sort of that was so neat. Or seeing people post photos like from
Yeah.
a pattern I wrote. It's still kind of cool to me. I was sharing with my husband the other day the pictures of people with their little squares from the ghost bag.
Oh, yeah.
And
That,
there's so many people are making it, and I'm just like, I am still blown away by the amount of people that will just make something that I wrote and put together.
yeah.
It's still the coolest thing, and it feels the same as it did like the first time somebody posted a picture of something they made to you holding up the ghost square a minute ago.
Mhm.
Like it's still incredible. It's weird. I still think it's bizarre people even want to make the stuff that I design, let alone like post about it and be like, hey, I made this, look how cool it is. I'm just like, I don't know, it blows me away. I think it's so cool.
It is because it's like your baby. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, you like my baby that much that you're going to do all these wonderful things? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I very much take everything very personal.
Mhm.
Everything I make is personal, even stuff that I can feel lukewarm about. I still made it. And I
Mhm.
still like it still holds a place in my heart. And yeah, if somebody likes it enough to make it themselves, to spend the time making it, wow. This is so
Right.
neat.
Right. And not only that, but it's not just something that they make, because I think when people like your designs and they want to make them, it spurs creativity in them. I think that your designs attract people that have that super. I mean, if you're a crocheter, you're creative. But I think, going into the tapestry and stuff like that, it takes it like another step further. And so
Hmm.
you can have your own colors, and you can take these blocks and not just make a bag, but you can make a blanket, you could put it together and make a sweater.
Hmm.
All these things that I think people like. I know I love your designs because it's not just a sweater. It's not just a scarf. It's like a building block that I
Hmm.
can use, and it helps to spark my creativity too.
That's awesome. Well, I hope so. Like that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing I tell my testers when we're working on something and they want to kind of add something. They're like, yeah, this is only in one color, but could I do stripes? Like, absolutely. Do stripes. Have
Mhm.
fun with it. Make it stripy. Make color blocks instead of just color. Use neons here if you'd like
Yeah.
whatever makes you feel happy, whatever, like you said, gives that creative burst. Go for it.
One, what advice would you give your younger self about crochet?
Uh, Probably try it sooner. I probably would have loved it if
Yeah.
I would have got back to it like in high school or something. I think
Mhm.
that would have been fun because, like I said, I was an art kid. I was in the art room all the time. I was
Right.
always working on something, and I think that would have been really fun to explore as a kid because I was, oh, like any teenager, kind of fearless in certain ways and totally willing to just mess
Mhm.
around and make a mess or just
Do stupid
whatever.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes, do something a little bit stupid, maybe destructive. And I think
Yeah.
yarn would have absolutely, I think teenage me would have had fun. I would have had like hot glue and staples and been painted on a big piece of canvas and then went back with yarn and just like
Oh
added
yeah.
yarn. Like I could see me doing that. Yeah. She would
Yeah,
have loved it.
that would have been fun. It would be great if we could just like do a go back in time thing and say, oh, what if I tweaked this little thing?
Hmm.
But
Exactly.
everything for a reason. So
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it all contributed, got me here. So
exactly. Exactly. What is your favorite go-to crochet stitch?
half double crochet. Like
Okay.
hands down, I use that the most when I'm designing like big projects.
Hmm.
That's probably the most frequently used design or stitch in any of my sweater patterns.
Hmm.
Like I'll use single crochet for my tapestries because I
Right.
just like that tight little like square that they make. Like they work really well. But for yeah, anything bigger than that, it's half double
Hmm.
all the way. It's my
Yeah.
favorite.
From beginning to end, what does your design process look like? Like, say, if we just pull out this little guy right here, what was your design process for him?
That started as probably back in, I want to say maybe May. I had
Mhm.
the idea, like it was floating around in my head because I had seen people. Oh, darn it, what's Angie's account? Making like all about Amy and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
Stephanie was making some really cute bags
Oh
that
yeah.
are like flowers and stuff. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if I could do that, but adapt it to like a bag for
Mhm.
Halloween. And so that was floating around in my head. And then when I finally got done with our move in June, I got to sit down and I got pulled up a stitch fiddle to make my graphs.
Mhm.
And it was just a process of making a bunch of graphs and seeing what parts I liked and what I didn't, and saving them and then going back and editing things. And like for the little ones, it's a little less editing. For big tapestries, it's a lot of editing.
Sure.
But for that one, I played around with a few different ghosts because I wanted something that was readable but still cute and easy to do. And but I wanted to make it smaller.
Mhm.
So there, like when you're working smaller, there's a lot less room for details. So I
Right.
like had to keep making it smaller to see how like I could figure out that. But yeah, and once I got that, I got my yarn, picked out my colors, and that was easy enough because I wanted to stick with traditional Halloween. That was nice. It was easier than some other designs where I have to like sit and hold yarn next to each other and like
Mhm.
see if the colors work.
Right.
And yeah, then I just sat down and started playing around with the yarn and making the squares and trying to decide how many of the two different designs I wanted, if I wanted half and half or, you know, checker or what have you.
Mhm.
But my design process is a lot of just like, yeah, I'm gonna try it. Let's see if it works.
So you said you use Stitch Fiddle. I've never tried that before. Have you ever used
Mm-mm.
stitchboard.com? It's on a free, it's like you can use a free or a paid program. But how when did you start using Stitch Fiddle? I'm really curious about this because I've heard a lot of people say a lot of good things about it.
I've used it for a few years now. I
Mhm.
started doing it. It's got a lot of it's a lot easier for me to
Mhm.
make big graphs out of it.
Mhm.
And when I started doing like corner to corner for color work, I'd made a big blanket with a coffee cup on it, and or I think yeah, it's coffee cup. I couldn't remember. It's a winter, so it might have been cocoa, but it's coffee cup.
Mhm.
But I needed the size for it, and so I found the graphing. It's a fun little graphing website. You can pick different colors, and you can make it as big as you want or as small as you want. And I've been using it for a few years. It's awesome. It's really helpful. I can save. I use the paid version, so I
Mhm.
can save a ton of like the process. Like I said, I delete and change, but I want to save the previous one before I move on to a new one because what if I liked the previous one better?
Mhm.
And so it's just I can have like 20 of the slightly different versions
Oh, wow.
of wall hanging if I decide I want to tweak it and just keep changing it until it's perfect or what have you, until I'm happy-ish.
I love free versions of things, but then again, sometimes you just get a whole lot with the paid for versions, and it's
Hmm.
worth every single penny of it.
Absolutely. Especially because you can save your graphs on there. For me, I hate having to lose
Mhm.
something if I, because I think you only get like 10 or 20 graphs for the free version,
Yeah.
which is great. But yeah, I need more than that for like
Oh,
per design.
how do you choose colors for your projects?
A lot of trial and error and
Hmm.
holding yarn together. Sometimes I'll do a couple like little rows to see if it works together. But mostly I just go with gut instinct. Like I think it's that whole little, art kid that I was.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed just playing around with color and having fun with it. And I do have like some knowledge of like art theory. It's been
Mhm.
or color theory even. Uh, have some books about it. Been years since I read them, but I had them, and so I don't know. I just kind of like go with my gut on things. Sometimes it works. I have had ones not work out, but often it does work out pretty well.
So go to the bottom of the whip pile. There's
Hmm.
Do you find that colors, like color psychology, that different colors will bring out different feelings and different emotions whenever you're making a project?
Sometimes I think that I actually think it might be true, and I think that's why I use a lot of blues because I
Mhm.
love to feel that calm welcomeness that blues can bring. Like I use a like that. That's the color I have the most of in my stash is various colors of blue, and so yeah, I think that I enjoy that element because like I
Mhm.
have fewer reds, which for me do not elicit a warm, happy feeling.
They're more like a wah.
Hmm. Yeah, they
Yeah,
feel more aggressive, especially
exactly.
that vibrant, like fire engine red kind of a color. Like that feels aggressive to me, whereas I'd rather have a happy blue, a
Right, right.
happy, a soft, happy blue.
Now, I was looking at your projects, like going into Ravelry and stuff, and I saw your Luna shawl.
Hmm.
And like that is far from a tapestry design. And was that one of the it was back like a 2016 project, I think.
Hmm.
Was that one of the first things you designed, or is it just one of the first ones that kind of made it out there to people?
Um, Honestly, I'm not too sure. It's not that I've been designing for a couple years prior to that, but
Mhm.
that one back in 2016, I was doing a lot of experimenting. I was trying out, like I said, the tapestry and trying color work like that. But I was also playing around with that yarn was wool like. You can get it at Michael's, and it is a teeny tiny, like that's a super fine yarn.
Mhm.
And I loved how it worked up. Like I was making so much with it. I have a couple shawls, like three, I think. And I even have a sweater made from it, some hats. Like I was having a moment with that yarn. And that is why I made that shawl because I wanted to make a half circle like
Mhm.
big flowy shawl with it because it was so soft. I was like it absolutely needs to be made into a shawl. And yeah, that's just it. There wasn't like much to it other than I just want to play with this yarn.
That shawl is beautiful. I know what you're saying about that yarn. I test patterns, and I tested one for Journey Chanel Designs earlier this year, and it had the like bell sleeves, long and flowy, and I used the red. Speaking of red,
Hmm.
I but it's more of a cool red as opposed to a bright red for that top, and I held two strands together. But yeah, the feel of that yarn is like it needs to be made into something special.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's very soft and just I really love the texture of it. It's a really soft, pretty yarn, and it's very approachable. You can get it stateside here with at Michael's, so it's
Yeah.
really easy to get to. And yeah, I had a ton of it. Like I ordered like $100 worth of it from Michael's one time.
Now listen, I don't know if they discontinued it, but
Oh no.
they don't have it at Michael's anymore, or at least at my Michael's, and they were selling them for $1 a skein last year.
Oh
So
goodness, I didn't know that.
yeah, they
It's been
were.
a while since I've been into a Michael's, unfortunately. It's been a minute.
Yeah, yeah, I know it's hard to go in there because then you just never come out, and you want to go
Hmm.
back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want everything.
it can be nuts. I know. I go into the yarn store, my heart literally starts beating faster. I get sweat. I have to wear my face. It's a fun time.
Hmm. Especially when there's new stuff, especially this time of year, there's all the Halloween
Oh,
stuff. There is
I
so
know.
much to look at.
Did, did you ever like Juicy Couture?
I did not. I
Okay,
know I'm
you
familiar, but I did not.
okay, so you're not a pink person. You were you were the more the dark like darker tones probably would be in the goth type kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it was a little Molgoth. So there was pink there. I had some pink pants
I,
at the time, some of those big raver pants.
I
Oh
just got
wow.
I got some Juicy Couture yarn. That's what I'm making your bag out of.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was what that was.
Yeah, some has sparkles. This one does. Some
Oh
doesn't.
goodness.
It's just like, hey, in your face Barbie vibes.
That's awesome.
And I'm
That's
not a
awesome.
yeah, I'm not a Barbie person. I am like a totally Barbie. I'm the one who I used to cut the hair and throw the heads, you know.
Yeah. I
So,
actually used to make clothes for my Barbies.
oh, that's
I
so
used to
cute.
sew clothes. Like I
Wow. How do you photograph your projects? Like, do you set aside a certain time? Do you get a professional photographer? Do you just take pictures in the moment? What's
um
your way?
it's a little bit of in the moment as well as set aside time
Mhm.
because it's I model all of my makes.
Yeah.
And so um and my husband takes the photos. So we kind of have it's a learning process. It's usually we try to go find somewhere with like a nice background. We do like a park or something. Try to get a little bit after the sun starts to dip so that you don't have those hard shadows and hard highlights. Get closer to that golden hour time. And then we take like 100 photos and find out if we can find them, find some good ones. Because
Yeah.
I'm not particularly photogenic otherwise. I it's kind of like there are more than the couple of me just like standing there looking like what did my husband call it? A proof of life photo. I should in a newspaper. Um, and like so I have to comb through those before I can find one where I look a little bit more human and a little bit more
Sure.
lifelike.
Sure. I found the older I get, just to get rid of maybe some of these or whatever, there's a couple of apps that I use that I erase those things. I'm not ashamed to say I Photoshop myself. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It,
usually have to lighten like yeah, the
right.
bags for my eyes and stuff. But that's a yeah.
Yeah. So do you keep all your old photos, or are there some you're just like, I got to get rid of this?
If it's a particularly awful photo, I will erase every
All
like
time.
scrap of evidence that had ever existed. But for the
Yeah.
most part, I do keep them. I have just like a little terabyte hard drive that I keep a lot of my old photos on there for who knows if I need to get access to pictures for a pattern that's from, a dozen years ago or something.
Sure, sure. You never know when
Hmm.
this particular look might be in style, your proof of life pictures.
Yeah, we maybe have a photo of what I looked like a couple years ago
Yeah,
because
right. You price your patterns.
it kind of depends on how much goes into them.
Right.
Like that usually is the biggest factor is the time and effort and the complexity of the design. Because I'll have ones that are specific, like tracked to be on my blog,
Hmm.
and then ones that will be premium patterns that are only available in Ravelry. And so it, yeah, mostly just kind of depends on how hard it was for me to make them, or to that effect. And with the ones that are on the blog, there is a paid PDF
Mhm.
for like more information, or like just for the ease of having the PDF, and that'll be, a little bit more expensive than you get it for free.
Yeah. I love getting PDFs, but then again, I also like the ability to go get the free pattern, make it. You got all the ads, but that's okay because then it's like if we're doing the ads, you're still getting some income from
Hmm.
that. You're on Ravelry, and are you on Etsy also?
I'm not. I actually never got on Etsy years ago, and I don't know why. I haven't, and now everybody I talk to, like other designers and stuff, are complaining about Etsy. Like
Yeah,
between fees, between the difficulties people can have downloading patterns and stuff,
mhm,
it scares me away from ever opening a shop.
yeah, and it's really not necessary, especially if you've got a good traffic going to your Ravelry, and you have a Patreon too, which something.
I used to. I shut it down this year because
Oh,
I did some reconfiguring of
mhm,
my work earlier this year. And so I shut the Patreon down because I didn't want to have people who were already paying feel like they were getting less.
sure.
Because I was giving out patterns that I was releasing, and then
Mhm,
I cut back to fewer patterns this year.
mhm.
Not right now because it's my Halloween season, and I can't limit myself. I keep making more. But outside of that, I was fewer patterns prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever just get like an inflow of things that you want to make, and there's so many of them that you just have right here that there's no
Yeah,
problem?
especially this time of year. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I have so
Yeah.
many things I want to work on, and I don't have the time to work on them.
Yeah.
As yeah, I want to make a ghost earrings. I don't know what I'll find pattern like time to do it. I have the ideas sitting in my head. It's just like
Mhm.
chilling right there. Finally finished the pumpkin I wanted to work on. That was just hanging out in my head for a couple weeks. Like I
Oh,
just
the little stuffed one?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to make that.
Yeah, I make one of those every year. They're fun for me. I like to just like I don't know, just like cute little squishy little thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I had to find time to make that. I had to finish a sweater. I need to like it just there's too many ideas sometimes. Especially like I said, this time of year. It's my favorite time of year, and I have too much fun making everything.
Oh,
Like it's so fun.
I know. It's like, no, don't tell me to go to bed because I really want to play with this some more. But
Hmm.
if only we.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is the only software you use the Stitch Fiddle, or do you ever do things by hand, or are there other software things you use to design your graphs?
It's mostly just stitch fiddle. I know other people use like for the bigger design elements, not necessarily like a graph or
Mhm.
like for color work, but just like actual stitches. I know people use those. I don't,
Mhm.
um, just because I, I don't know how, and
Yeah.
I'm lazy. I don't want to learn right now. Maybe someday. Maybe I'll find time to learn how to use one of those, but I don't know how to do it now. But yeah, for that, that's pretty much for the designing part. Like
Mhm.
I use, Google Docs to write my patterns,
Mhm.
and then that way I always have an updated version. I try to use that especially for when I'm testing, so that my testers have an updated version. If I have to fix something, they've got the newest version of the pattern, so they don't have to like re-download it or anything like that. It'll just be right there for them.
Yeah. It's a huge
Yeah,
time saver. Huge
yeah,
time saver.
yeah. It's nice when I'm on the go and I'm at like out somewhere and somebody tells me I messed up on the math on a row, or I did the numbers backwards or something, and I can just like pull it up on my phone, fix it right there, and then I
Mhm.
don't have to worry about forgetting to do it later, because if I don't do it then, I will absolutely forget.
I'm the exact same way. If it doesn't get done now, it just doesn't get done.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite yarn to work with or play with?
Oh, yeah, it depends on what project I'm working on. Because
Mhm.
like I love Brava worsted from We Crochet,
Mhm.
slash Knit Picks. There it's like we were talking about the colors. the range of colors it has for like color work in tapestry design
Mm-hmm.
is, I love it. I can have so many variations. It gives me so many blues to be able
Important.
to really bring out like the idea that I have in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But for like garments and stuff, lately I've been using a lot of Basic Stitch from Lion Brand. I find
Mm-hmm.
it a very approachable acrylic as well, like it just a worsted, and it works up well, it cleans well, and I can steam block it or wet block it, and it works great either way. And yeah, those have been the big ones right now because we're going into fall.
Right.
So it just kind of depends. During the summer, I like a little bit lighter, more cottony yarns. Yeah, kind of
Sure.
the usual. I feel like that's probably standard for a lot of people.
Yeah. The Knit Picks yarn, the Bravo worsted, is that 100% acrylic?
Yeah, it's an acrylic yarn as well. Yeah, once I found the same way, you get a color like a line that you know looks the way it's going to look in the photos, you can
Right.
have confidence ordering it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can have confidence telling, you know, people that are making the patterns, your customers or your friends, that this yarn will work great for that.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite crochet hook to use?
I have the soft grip ones from absolutely just like a cheap $10 pack from We Crochet. It's just like little soft grip
Mhm.
hooks. I love them.
There,
They're just comfortable in my hand to work with.
yeah, I got the dots hooks from We Crochet.
Hmm.
Those are my favorite all-time hooks.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded. I do need to because my little soft grip ones, one of them, I accidentally went the wrong way in the hook and it busted out the butt, just like right out the
Oh,
end of the
oh.
hook. So it is time to upgrade. I probably should get the dot hooks now too.
But you never know, because you could upgrade and then realize it's just not the same. How do you keep your yarn stash organized?
Ah, trial and error. I have one of those 9 compartment little organizers.
Oh yeah.
I have 2 of them actually, and I've got my yarn in there. I try to organize it by color because I like the way it looks, but
Mhm.
often that doesn't work for long term. I have to reset it every couple of months because I'll move stuff around.
Yeah.
And then I make a lot of baskets, so a lot
Mhm.
of yarn goes into baskets, and then I have to pull it back out, find the color I wanted, because those one like I put the nice pretty skeins in the compartment thing. In the baskets, I put the balled up or caked up
Mhm.
bits from ends of projects and stuff into the baskets.
Sure.
It's not tidy, but it works for me.
Do you ever feel like a squirrel with your yarn? Like if you could just have you ever I've done this before, and put a camera in one side of the room while you're like organizing all your yarn. So it's like you look like this little fast moving creature, just little caches of yarn everywhere. That's what I feel like
Hmm.
sometimes with my organization.
Yeah, that absolutely, I can picture that. That's what I would like, getting a new box of yarn and having to like move things around and you shuffle the colors and,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah,
organizing it by brand sometimes, whatever.
yeah. It's more play. It's
Hmm.
more yarn play.
Absolutely.
Do you have any tips for aspiring crochet designers?
Um, I do. First, don't like compare yourself to other people. Like it's so hard, and I know a lot of people say this, but it really is hard to not play that comparison game. But you absolutely have to, because you
Mhm.
won't want to keep doing it. It can be hard sometimes. I know that like I was saying, I take everything personal when I design. Things that I make always feel like very tied to me.
Mhm.
It's, an expression of me. And, getting out there and looking at the things other people make and thinking, oh my goodness, they must be so much more successful than I am. And they're so much better than I am. And their pictures are prettier and stuff. You can't do that. or else
No,
you're just not going to keep doing it. You're not going to keep designing because that is, it'll actually eat away your joy and your creativity for the work.
social media can be a beast,
Absolutely.
total beast. But, at the same time, all of your stuff is amazing. So, you don't have to worry about any of that. Like just the way I'm attracted to colors, to colors and designs visually. It has to fit it has to hit the right place in my brain.
Hmm.
Your pictures do that. So, and your designs.
Oh, well, thank you. I try. Like there was a time where I wanted to have one of those really pretty curated Instagram accounts where it's all like kind of the same colors and it all looks nice. I can't do that. Like
Yeah.
I want to, but I just can't because I don't use the same kind of colors all the time. I don't use like the photos aren't always tidy. Sometimes they're on the go. Sometimes they're I'm sitting to have a beer and I'm playing with some yarn. I'm gonna have my husband snap a photo so I can post it online and just be silly about it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's for me, it's a little sometimes it's very deliberate, sometimes it's very just whatever I felt like in the moment.
Yeah, sure. And I feel like it has to be that way a little more when you're creating things and you have all these different color yarns in the background. You're not going to have this, I'm by the pool with with an all light white pink stucco
Hmm.
aesthetic. It's it's more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely like the by the pool, beautiful aesthetic with the proper lighting and stuff that is not me and it's never been me. And
Yeah.
I feel like, for me, the social media shows that. Mine is more, a bunch of colors all the time and trying things out and half finished whips that I couldn't wait to show people because I love to show the new thing I'm working on and stuff like that.
Plus, I think it's more real and more genuine. And I think it's going from, being that kind of more like picture perfect to people want to see real people,
Hmm.
and what in a really cool way, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I do kind of hope that that is where social media sticks for a little while is
Me too.
people having fun and being a little bit more. This is me. I'm messy. I got yarn everywhere. My hair doesn't look this straight most days. It's up in a bun kind of a thing. Like,
Yeah. What is your favorite way to engage with your community? Like, where do you find the most joy and most connections?
um, it's again, it's that just like off the cuff being real, kind of talking and showing things. Like I have more fun showing a whip project and being like, I hope you guys like this. It might be out in a month, kind of a thing, than I do for anything more structured.
Yeah.
I like the off the cuff and having just fun kind of random conversations in the comments about whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are fun. Those are,
Mhm.
and do you ever get any ideas from like the comments that you get, or like somebody will say, "Ooh, that would look really cool like this," and you're like, "Oh, it really would." And so there's can be like back and forth in the comments. It's fun.
Oh, for sure. I actually had somebody on the announcement post for my ghost bag was saying like, well, now we're all going to we're going to need these for every season, right? And I was just like,
Right.
oh no, you're so right. Oh no. I'm like,
Every single
no.
season.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to think of something. I'm like, that's what I'm trying. My brain is trying to like put together an idea for like, I don't know, November or December, but I can't figure out what I want to do. If I want to do like snowflakes or if I want to do mushrooms, obviously mushrooms got to be somewhere in there, but I don't know. And I have to figure it out.
Yeah. My, my first thought is different Christmas candies, like every Christmas candy.
Mhm.
But
Ooh, or ornaments, like little ornaments. Like you have the
Mhm.
little ball and then like the little one that comes to the point and then like a little tree.
Yeah, you could add some snowflakes and candies in there.
Yeah, you could have like, yeah, see, there's so much to do with it, but
I know, so much fun.
gotta find the time.
I know. Time, please, happen to me. What has been the most rewarding part of your whole crochet journey?
um, I don't know, it's kind of it's a couple different things, I think. It's between like just having to be able to build a community, having like the followers, having the people that are like show up constantly. Like I see the
Mhm.
same names
Right.
when I get my little ding email from Ravelry, I see the same names come through, and it's incredible to see people consistently like
Yeah.
showing up and purchasing from me. It's so neat to know that they still want to. Like
Mhm.
I said, for years, seeing the same names come through because I do recognize them. I don't know if people realize that, but I do see your names and
Oh,
I
sure.
recognize your screen names. I know who you are sometimes, and just like it's so cool
Mhm.
to be able to see that and to have that connection with people.
Yeah.
And like they're, I don't know where, like all
Mhm.
over. And yeah, just like for that little moment that I get the email because they did a thing,
Mhm.
it it feels like that little connection, and it's so cool. And then also, honestly, being able to make money off of this. I know sometimes it can be tricky to talk about money as far as this, but it is a business, it is a job, that is what I do full time.
Mhm.
And to be able to do that is incredible. I I feel very lucky every day, like all the time. That's why I think part of me is fine with having to update and edit photos at 10 o'clock at night because I don't have like a work life balance. I just do it when
Right.
I feel like doing it, when I'm around and can sit down at the computer because I feel very fortunate to be able to do this. I,
Yeah.
I, I don't know how I got so lucky, but I get to make things with yarn, and people make the things too, and it's
And
cool.
99.9% of people realize that, oh yeah, it is a business. But at the
Hmm.
time, it's I don't know, it's also real.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I try to be upfront about the still business part, like having to
Right.
make the money, but I also don't want it to be the only thing. I don't like to
Yeah.
be too salesy. I don't like to
Sure.
be too like I'd rather have a conversation,
Mhm.
on let's say like 70% of my posts are conversation. And
Mhm.
then I'll be like, and just in case you're interested, this pattern is available. You can
Well,
buy it
yeah.
here.
Well, and your followers, or in my case, subscribers, are like, well, yeah, we've been waiting to hear about that part. We're we want to get
Yeah.
it. Let me throw my money at you right now.
Yeah, so that's the hardest part for me as far as social
Yeah.
media is like being able to find that balance because I know people do want to see where the pattern is and like want to know about that, but I don't want to open with that every time because that feels
Right.
weird to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I try to talk to people and make conversation first and then, throw that in there if they really want to know.
Do a good job of not, like, I've never felt pushed on. Like, here, buy this. Ever.
I'm
No,
glad. I'm glad to hear that. I do
yeah,
try. It just feels inauthentic to me.
yeah,
It just doesn't work for who I am as a person to be like that. I try to balance
yeah. So,
best I
but then,
can.
but then I can tell everybody, hey, why don't you go over to
And
Ravelry
that's why if you
on
want to
the
do that, that's
website?
cool. I'll just sit here and have my coffee.
That's right. That's right. All the places. Go get in your pattern. Do you have any crochet mentors that helped you along the way or inspired you?
Um, I'm not sure if like I guess it depends on how we're wanting to define mentor, but I definitely have a lot of inspirations, a lot of people I've been following for years. I've got like Tamara from Moogly. She was one of when I started pulling up YouTube,
Mhm.
10 years ago, trying to figure out and like bring back that little like connect the dots between the little bit I did remember from crochet
Mhm.
from my mom and what it became after 20 odd years between when my mom taught me and when I got older. And yeah, like Moogly's, her videos were instrumental in me learning how to just crochet again. She's got some like basic color change for tapestry videos. Those were the first ones that I pulled up to be able to learn how to do that. Um, we got like all about Amy, Stephanie. I got to meet her at Our Maker Life back in like
Uh-huh.
2019, and I had been following her blog since Tumblr days. Like it was so
Wow.
cool. It was like
Tumblr
meeting
days.
a,
Oh my goodness.
I know, it was like meeting a celebrity. It was really cool. I was like, I've been following you for
Yeah.
so long. This is very cool to me. And so it was really cool, and she's super nice. And so that was really neat too. But yeah, I feel like I am just a collection of everybody whose blogs I've ever popped onto and went, oh, this is really cool. You're awesome.
Hmm.
It's just like taking little bits from everybody I've ever, encountered, been inspired by.
Isn't this crochet community wonderful? It's just fun.
Hmm.
I love it. Do you have a favorite crochet podcast that you listen to?
I don't actually. I don't listen to a lot of crochet podcasts.
Mhm.
I actually lately I haven't had time for podcasts at all. Like I have some of my favorite. I usually listen to like media criticism and stuff like that,
Yeah.
or like movie podcasts, things like that.
Mhm.
Like This Ends at Prom is one of my favorite podcasts. They talk about teen girl movies,
Mhm.
and it's so much fun for to listen to. But lately, I haven't had the time. I just haven't. I used to listen to podcasts when I go for walks, and I haven't lately. Uh, but yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I just don't do a lot of crochet podcasts. Probably should, but I just don't.
I don't listen to a lot of crochet podcasts because I want to see the yarn stuff that's going on. I want to see somebody holding up yarn and saying this yarn is awesome and let me tell you why.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes
How
sense.
do you keep up with all the social media, like the comments? And I
Social media, I just try. I'm just trying to have fun. We can't do it all, and nobody should.
no,
We
no,
it
and so I take
absolutely
that
should.
whole thing back about you needing to start a YouTube channel. See, I say that because that's my creativity. I can just talk and talk and talk to people forever. My thing, writing patterns and designing, not so much my thing.
Yeah,
So I know what you
yeah.
mean.
It's all separate skill sets too. Like
For
honestly,
sure.
and it's not easy. I've tried to do like the lives and the chats and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's okay if I like have something to talk about, if I can like feel like I've got like a structure
Yeah,
to it. But if
right.
I'm just like going off the cuff and talking to people, it's not great. I'm not great.
Yeah,
I freeze up. I do a lot of ums and stuff.
right. If the thing is causing you undue pain, then you shouldn't do it.
Hmm.
That's what I
Absolutely.
find. Yeah. The best tutorials I ever had was when I would be crocheting. My husband would come in the room and start lecturing me about something that I did wrong. Like, you didn't roll the cheese up and now it's all stale. It's like, oh, okay.
That's funny. That's cute.
Yeah. It's random. It's the most challenging project you have ever worked on.
Oh, honestly, it's the last couple of years with like the sweaters, like the ghost sweater I just did.
Hmm.
The design itself is simple,
Hmm.
but the grading is hard. And that takes a long time because I need to make 4 different graphs, and
Yeah.
I have to make sure that percentage wise the ghost is the same throughout each size.
Oh my. Yeah.
Because in the past, when I was learning about designing and building and figuring out these techniques,
Hmm.
I didn't do that so much. And grading is one of those that's very important. And I
Right.
want it to look good for all sizes.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want somebody to feel cheated that their design looks like poo. Like,
If
if
they
you're
have
going to
a little
spend
ghost this big and then one this big on other people, yeah.
exactly, like, I don't want that to be the look. I want people to be happy if they're going to spend hours making something that I designed. I want them to enjoy the final result. And so, yeah, the hardest part is the grading on stuff like that because I have to make sure I have to, like I said, do the math. Gotta make sure the percentages stay consistent throughout the design because I want it to look good for everybody. And yeah, that can that can be a lot of time.
Without a doubt. Now, do you do all that yourself or do you ever hire somebody to do that for you?
I do it myself.
Mhm.
I've got a good idea on how to do it. It just takes time.
Yeah.
I have to sit down and do it. Like I have to sit down and carve out a couple hours to be able to make the different graphs and then write the different designs down and make sure that they work and check the numbers and all that. It just is time consuming, but I do it myself.
Oh, that just makes my head hurt. It's like talking about the theory of relativity or something. My brain just like, oh,
Yeah,
so much work.
there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes as
And then,
far as like stuff like that. I
yeah, not only that, but the sizing, like, for different sizes of sweaters, small, medium, large, and then you go into the like some designers, I know Anastasia goes into some 8X and then all the way down to XX small. And
mhm.
sizing is just like a complete mystery to me, like how to do all that too. But you don't, you have the graph to make right and the sizing too.
Mhm.
Sounds, wow.
Yeah. And it's always a learning process. I'm always trying
Yeah.
to listen, and I follow a lot of accounts that talk about
Mhm.
trying to like adapt site, make sure that your sizing is better,
Right.
especially for like the larger sizes, because
Mhm.
there's like weird misconceptions about the way everything needs to get bigger. And
Yeah.
like that's not how it works. Like
Because there are
it's
so many different body types.
that too. Like it's a constant process of learning and
Mhm.
trying to like get better.
Yeah.
And that's I'm always trying to, as far as grading, trying to get better at it and trying to make sure that my designs are better and easier to make and make more sense, kind of a thing. Just that's the goal
Yeah.
for me, at least.
How do you unwind after a long day? Like a long day of working on numbers. I mean, are you ready to just call it quits? My head is done. Or what's your go-to thing? Do you sit down with more crochet or do you go out with your husband or
A little bit of all of that, honestly. With when I'm working on a pattern and I'm doing a lot of like the math of the grading and like the
Mhm.
real brain wrinkle stuff, I I basically sit down with something mindless. After that, I'll put on a TV show I've seen a ton of times, and
Yeah.
I will just sit and try to, make just rows. Like I'll be working on the back of a sweater or something, and it's just rows of half double crochet, and it's just nice
Mhm.
because I can just go back and forth,
Mhm.
and it just kind of like resets my brain. But I also, my husband and I, we like to go out. We like beer. We
Mhm.
like to go out and try different beers, and so we'll go
Mhm.
out and hang out somewhere and have a beer and just watch TV, talk, whatever seems to be going on at the time.
Any favorite beers? Are you a craft beer person or do you like to try everything?
I do. We do a lot of like local beers. We like to go to local breweries and do
Yeah.
like craft beers and stuff like that. For me, the favorite beer is like a favorite yarn. It's like picking your favorite kid. It is a very
Yeah.
loaded question. It is
Right.
very difficult.
Right.
It was like it depends on what I'm doing, what I'm eating, where I'm at, like what time of year it is. Like if it's real
Sure.
hot, I'm not going to want a big, thick, heavy beer. But if it's real
Mhm.
cold, I would like one of those. So it
Yeah.
just depends.
Handle criticism.
I cry. Yeah.
Aw.
But like I said, I take everything very personal, and I
Yeah.
try not to. But um, yeah, I internalize it, and then once I get past the immediate like feelings that you get, because you get
Mhm.
somebody tells you something, you react, you get your initial reaction, and you could get defensive or emotional or angry. Like there's so many different things.
Sure.
But once I get those, and then I kind of sit with and figure out like, why am I feeling that way? Is there an opportunity here? And then I will let the like more logical parts of my brain take
Right.
over, and I try to figure out like what I can do and if this is in good faith criticism or if somebody's just being a
Sure.
jerk. And and then I try to go from there. But yeah, a lot of times I'll take it right to heart. I am a very like emotional, person in that
Mhm.
way, and so I feel everything very strongly, and then I have to take a deep breath and think about it.
My mind immediately goes to what is funny about this, and I have to hold myself back from saying snarky stuff.
I do that too. I've definitely had a few comments where people will like correct something I said, and my first instinct is to say, "Oh, thank you. That's what jokes need. They need accuracy. That's the like that." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, let's step away. No need to be a little jerk right now." They just like
No.
just smile and be like, "Okay," and just leave.
Yeah, like somebody said to me one time in a comment, I don't know, how could you make a video about this? How could you make a whole video about this? And I was like, how could you watch the whole video?
Yeah, you're the one who watched it, buddy, not
You're the
me.
one who watched it. Exactly.
Yeah. Although one of my worst instincts is I'd take a screenshot and post it on other social medias. That's one of my I had somebody be really rude to me a couple weeks ago, like a month ago. And so I screenshot it, put it in my stories on Instagram and put it on threads and stuff to just be like, don't be this person. This person sucks.
Yeah.
And I didn't block out the name, and then people got weird. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that again.
But
I will take the steps to not leave this person's name on this post, even if they want to be a butthead.
right.
But yeah, that's one of my ways to get my irritation out if somebody's really absolutely just kind of a rude jerk on the internet is I'll take a screenshot and I'll post it for other
Yeah.
people to see. Be like, look at this turd.
Like you made
Let's
this
all
fair
laugh.
by posting it publicly. You made this fair game. I always feel that way.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't want to put screen names in it or
Yeah.
usernames, or if it's on Facebook, their real name to it
Right.
anymore. That's the line I'll draw. But I will absolutely take a screenshot and then post it somewhere.
Sure.
Let
Sure.
everybody else also go, what's this person about? They seem
Yeah.
poopy.
They're very poopy.
Hmm.
What is your favorite crochet hack?
Oh, I like steam blocking. I've got to say is, in my opinion, a hack because it will make stuff look better.
I've never steam blocked anything, and I think I need to do this because I've heard of a lot of people doing it.
Honestly, especially when I do color work, because I'll get a
Mhm.
lot of people who do like the tapestries and they'll be like,
Yeah.
mine curls. It won't stay flat. What is the trick? And I was like, steam block it. Especially with the wall hangings,
Mhm.
I take it to the point that I almost kill the yarn, kind of
Mhm.
a thing where you've overdone it,
Mhm.
because then it softens it in a way that it just lays
Oh, nice.
so much nicer.
Yeah.
And yeah, for these like squares for the bag, I steam blocked
Mhm.
all those to make them all about the same size. It helps to eliminate if you pulled the yarn too hard, like too
Mhm.
much when you carried it, or if you, when weaving it in, you did something weird. I know that I've done
Right.
that before where you
Yeah.
catch like part of a stitch and it looks weird and it pulls
Mhm.
things. Yeah, steam blocking will just help to smooth that out. It's just that heat in the water. So it
Okay.
heats the steam right there. It just kind of helps to make things look better. And it's the same thing for garments, shawls
Mhm.
absolutely look better when you block them. They just open up so much more. It helps to make just sweaters look like they
Mhm.
they soften it out,
Right.
and it just kind of helps to let any kind of color work
Now, where can you
just look right.
right? Where can you get like? Do they actually sell steam blockers? It is a thing that you hold in your hand.
I think they're just steam irons a lot of time is what they
Okay.
call them or something
Okay.
like that, but just steamers, just like little
Okay.
handheld steamers.
I'm gonna have to go get one of those. I mean, that's another Amazon thing that I gotta put
Mhm.
on the Amazon cart for sure. My
But
Amazon cart fills up.
yeah, I definitely understand that.
You have anything upcoming, like any upcoming big projects or collaborations? Anything coming up for Halloween, Christmas?
Still in Halloween mode. I've got a new wall hanging I'm designing in my
Mhm.
head, but also in graphs. I've got my skull and crossbones sweater that will be coming out next month. I still need to finish the sleeves on that, but I've moved on. Like once I get the body done, I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna try new ideas."
Mhm.
I've got, if I can find the time, the ghost earrings I want to make. There's always something new. I'm always working on something. I have to try to stay at least a month or two ahead for a release schedule. It's hard, but I try.
Right, because you have to do it. Nobody wants to get the Halloween project right on Halloween.
Hmm.
It's over, and then you're starting to think about Christmas.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part for me is the transition to Christmas because I want to just keep making Halloween stuff.
Sure. Well, you can make like the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, like, ooh, scary Christmas.
That would be a whole thing I would absolutely love to do.
Yeah.
Like try to do like a creepy Christmas or a
Oh, that
like a Krampus or
mhm.
was it the Violent Night movie that came out
Oh
last
my
year
God. Yeah.
or earlier this year with David Harbour?
Oh, I
He's
haven't seen
delicious. I love him. I
I
love
haven't
him so much. He's fabulous, and that was a fun movie. It's very violent.
very violent, very blood.
Hmm. Yeah, but it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
Okay, that's a movie on my Christmas watch list. The kids will be like, "Mom, what are you watching?"
Yeah, that's what those are the movies I watch is like that. Like Krampus is good. The first family the Adams Family movie
Oh
features
yeah.
Christmas carolers, so that's a Christmas
Oh,
movie.
without a doubt. After the holiday season and everything, what's next? Do you have any like big things up on the horizon that you're planning?
Oh, I don't know. I've got the beginning of the year is always weird for me because I always try to figure out like an intention for the year. Yeah, I don't know what's going to be coming after December. I'm
Yeah,
the most furthest out is like some ideas through December,
right.
but nothing like concrete yet.
Like maybe you'll even take a break for a week or two. Just okay, I'm gonna breathe. Crochet season is over.
Yeah, it's my big season. I tell everybody that's the big
Yeah,
season is like September through December
right.
is like when we're all just working on stuff constantly anyway. So it's a big
Yeah.
time of year.
Now I usually end each interview with a flash round of kind of
Okay.
just quick one answer questions. Unless there's anything else serious that you would like to add.
I think we covered everything.
Okay, okay, sounds good. What is your spirit animal?
I don't really use the term spirit animal, but my familiar definitely would be a cat. Any kind of
Oh,
cat. I love cats.
love it, love it. Any special color of cat or just cats in general?
Just in general, I've always loved cats. I think they're fabulous. I love their whole vibe. Just like sometimes
Yeah.
they like you, sometimes they don't.
Oh,
I've
they're.
always
I like the
uh,
mean cats.
I have
Mean cats
a
are my favorite cats.
ooh, where's my camera? I have a little cat on my arm. I
Oh,
love.
I love that. Black cats are my favorite.
Hmm.
Big,
I like
strong,
them.
mean black cats.
Yeah.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
That's always such a hard question. So I love comic books. I read a lot of comics. I'm a big fan. I've got a Wonder Woman tattoo on my back. Like um, I like the idea of being able to fly. I feel like that would just be nice and freeing. Even if you would definitely, I've thought about this. You'd have to have like a helmet at all times because otherwise you'd be covered in bugs, and that
Oh, I didn't even
like you
think
would
of
have to because you wouldn't want bugs in your face or your hair. Like
no.
that's the part you never see in
For
comics or
bird,
movies when they
for
get to
bird
their
poop.
destination. Or bird, yes, there's
Yeah.
always birds. Like you got to think anything that happens to planes would happen to a person flying. So you'd have to have all that. So it'd be a
Yeah.
whole suit. You'd have to have a whole protective suit. But
That's
outside
pretty
of that, it
cool.
would be very fun. I feel like
Beach or mountains?
mountains, hands down. I'm from Utah. I was born and raised here, and I love the mountains out here.
Mhm.
I've lived in California as well as North Carolina. I've seen their beaches. And they're cool, but I much prefer the mountains.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, that always depends. I usually go with I love anything chocolate. I like a good like a chocolate coffee, like a burnt almond fudge or a mocha almond fudge or something like that. But I also love a pistachio ice cream.
Good.
That stuff is good.
It's good stuff.
Hmm.
Now I want some ice cream.
Same. I'm not too far from. There's a Fars in Ogden. It's a little ways away, but I can.
Mhm.
They have great ice cream, and it's like an old. business that's been here for forever, and it's just lovely.
Oh, yeah. The independent, like mom and pop ice cream stores, I have found are always the best
Mhm.
in my
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, that's what I prefer. I like that
Yeah.
stuff too.
What is the last song you listened to?
Oh, let's see. I think it was, I'm not sure which one it was, but it was something by Amel and the Sniffers.
Who's
They're
I?
it's an Australian kind of like post-punk rock band.
Okay. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah,
I'll have to listen
they're
to 'em.
amazing. I love them.
And what's their name? I'm gonna look them up right.
Am Amel and the Sniffers.
Amel and the Sniffers. Okay.
Mhm.
I'll be like, okay, now I understand Amber even a little more now. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Um, Definitely more night owl. I've
Mhm.
always been. I'm better at night. I stay up way too late, way too often. I'm
Mhm.
I'm one of those, even as a kid, I would stay up late just either watching TV or if I got into a book. And even now
Oh,
as an adult, I read a book. I can't remember what it was last month. I'll have to I think it was called None of This Is True.
mhm.
Oh, I can't remember. But I read it in 3 days because I could not stop.
Oh,
I just kept there was one night where I was up to like 3 something in the morning, and I knew I had to go to sleep
right?
because I had to get up in like just a few hours, but I just couldn't. It was one of those. It was like one more row, one more page. Like I've always been
Mhm.
somebody who I fall right into that trap of I'll do it in a minute. I'll get it in a minute. I'll go to sleep in a minute. I just
Same.
need to finish this. Just need to finish
One,
this.
one more chapter. One more
So
chapter.
yeah. Yeah, and then in the morning, I am a zombie until I get a couple cups of coffee in me.
Well, if you could crochet with one crochet color for the rest of your life, only one, what would it be?
Probably just like, are we talking shades of blue here? Like, can we do the whole shades,
We can
or
do
is it
shade.
just
We
okay?
can
Yeah, it
do.
would definitely be blues then, because
Okay.
I could do all the things with blues.
What is your go-to comfort food?
Oh, probably pizza. Like, absolutely, I love a good pizza, and I do everything on pizzas. I'm a vegetarian, so I eat a lot of vegetables, and so I
Okay.
will put every vegetable I've got on my pizza. And I am pro pineapple. I know it's controversial, but I'm pro pineapple.
I like the pineapple. Hey, if it tastes good, I'm willing to give anything a chance. And some are different. Like there's so many different kinds of pizzas. There's thick crust. There's thin crust. There's wherever you go. Like New York has a different style than Chicago. Than
Hmm. Absolutely. And I had a pizza that it was a vegan pizza recently,
Mhm.
and it tasted like those old school bagel bites that you can get at the grocery store.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
so cool. I was like, okay,
Wow.
this tastes like it was like a vegan Sicilian type of style pizza. I don't know. It was
Yum.
whatever. It had nice a creamy sauce. It had fake little pieces of
Mhm.
sausage and onions and pine nuts. It was
Oh,
so
yum.
good. It was so
That-
good. And it tasted like bagel bites. And that even like so much better. It reminded me of being a kid again. I haven't had a bagel bite in who knows how long, but my brain went, this is bagel bites. I know this flavor.
Bagel bites. That's a meal in a bag right there.
There you go. Yeah. And see, and pizza. If pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
just science.
With my kids, we used to have a thing where I would get all the ingredients ready that you could want to have on pizza because I had 7 kids. And we would go through and get whatever bread we had. It could be bagels or English muffins or even tortillas. You load all the stuff up on it and you put it in the oven. And they're
Hmm.
like, "Yay, pizza night!"
Absolutely. I know, I think as a YouTuber guy, Brian David Gilbert did that. He did the
Yeah,
midnight gourmand type of thing, midnight snack guy. And he said anything can be a pizza. Anything is like you just
exactly.
need like a carby layer
Mhm.
and then a sauce and a cheese, and boom, you've got pizza.
Boom.
And I agree. Anything can be a pizza.
If you could travel anywhere right now, where would it be?
Oh, I don't know, honestly. I'm doing really well right now, just kind of chilling in Utah again. I haven't
Yeah.
lived here in almost 20 years, so it's nice. It feels like an exploration of,
Yeah.
my childhood, but as an adult, get to see it through new eyes. But I don't know, anywhere I could go and have something yummy to eat and a nice beer
And your crochet.
and my yarn, of course.
You'd have to be able to
Yes.
take that without a doubt.
I always have it. I was in Madrid back in like 2018 in a tap room, and the guy was making a joke. He was trying to talk to me and like telling me how like he called it knitting, but it was like in Spanish and stuff like that. We were trying to talk about it because he'd never seen anybody bring yarn into
Oh, wow.
his tap room before, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, bring it everywhere I go. And it was just a lot of fun. And so yeah, always yarn.
This is the final question. What is the one word that best describes your crochet style?
Oh, probably something like eclectic. Just kind of, it's like
Okay.
there's I feel like I try to mix it up way too often for it to ever be one thing. So it's very eclectic.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good word. Where can everybody find you, or where are the best places to see everything that is Divine Debris?
I've got my website that's got a lot of patterns on there, links to other social media outlets. You can find me on Instagram at Divine Debris, on Facebook, Divine Debris, on Threads, Divine Debris, Blue Sky. There's not much going on there, but I'm on there at Divine Debris. Pinterest, Ravelry, Divine Debris there as well. Pretty much,
Okay.
try to do across the board, same name. So I try to get on every social media at least, even if I'm not doing anything.
And I'm going to put the links for to everything that where they could possibly find you down below. So
So,
yeah, so we will. You'll be getting an influx, hopefully, of a whole bunch of crazy Yarny people.
well, very cool. Happy to have them come around, enjoy. Hopefully, they like Halloween. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And of course, I'm going to be doing updates of everything of yours that I'm making. So I
Awesome.
will I will keep you updated on Instagram too.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see. I love seeing the pictures for that one. There's so many people are working on it. It
Oh,
is
I know.
so neat. I love seeing the colors. It's so cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Amber, for coming and talking to me today. This was really fun.
No, thank you for having me. It was very fun. I
Yeah.
don't, like I said, I'm not great talking by myself, but I'm fine with somebody asking and talking and, keeping the conversation going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole different ball game whenever you've got two people rather than just one sitting here going,
Mhm. Yeah, which is mostly me. I'm just like,
yeah. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us and having a whole lot of crochet fun. And I know we didn't talk about it, but Amber has a couple of new really, really cute patterns out. There's like a ghost scarf. We talked about the ghost bag, but there's a whole bunch of really cool Halloween stuff that she has up on her website now and that's coming up. You guys are gonna love to crochet her things. So as soon as we get off here, go check out her website. You're gonna have fun. Yes, you're welcome ahead of time. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Love you guys. Bye.